For people who want to know what is the KeithAndrewNetwork, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them and still amount to something.
Hey everybody, my name is Chuck Huber. I am a voice actor for anime. You may know me from Android 17, or Emperor Pilaf, or Garlic Jr., or Kabito, or Android 13. Look at my trucker hat. From DragonBallZ, of course, I'm also Hiei in Yu Yu Hakusho, and Stein from Soul Eater, and Kurogiri from My Hero Academia. And I'm gonna, do a little chatting here with my buddy Keith Andrew, who is way more talented as an interviewer than I'll ever be. So there's that.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew, and I'm here with a good friend of mine, Chuck Herbert. Welcome back to the Keith Andrew Network universe.
Well, thank you, Keith, for having me back. When's the last time I saw you? It seems like it's been over a year, maybe? Has it been longer than a year? I can't remember. 6 months? 9 months? I don't know. Time's different post-COVID, pre-COVID, in COVID. It made all the time just sort of oh, look, my arm disappeared. It made time weird for everyone. That's what it did.
No, absolutely. And our link will be in the bottom of the screen so I can catch up on the very first time that we talked. I think it was, actually, yes, it was a year ago because I invited you to be part of my 8-year anniversary.
That's right. That's right, you did. I wasn't able to make it. Did I send a video? I thought I sent a video.
Oh, you were part of the 8-year. You weren't part of the 9-year.
Was I? Oh, it's part of the 8-year, not part of the 9-year. All right.
But I do hope you can make it to the 10th.
10 years of doing something is incredible.
No, absolutely. If it wasn't for COVID, and I might still go through with it, I'm getting my shot in a couple of weeks, maybe October. Depends on how this works out. But I want to do something special for my 10-year anniversary. And if you're up for it, I would love to do something.
What's that? Oh, you don't want to spoil it.
I can say it. There's a place near I live where I can rent like a theater, like a little building. Right. And I want to do a live 10-year anniversary of every single person who I ever interviewed. And I want you to be one of the people that roast me.
Oh, I can roast you. Absolutely, Four Eyes. I can roast you.
No, but definitely we can talk about that. But I was looking you up on IMDb because I want this to be different. And for people who may or may not know who you are Android 17.
That's correct, I am. And I'm going to annihilate all your listeners.
Go right ahead. But as long as I'm not one of them.
No, I wouldn't kill you. Of course not. Android 17 protects the host.
And you are also Super Android 17.
That's right, Super Android 17.
I never heard that voice before.
He's just kind of bigger. It's like Android 17, but bigger. I think that's all we did to make it Super 17.
So you're pretty much Hulk Hogan if 17 took his vitamins, say his players, and drink his milk.
That's right. That's right. It's funny you mentioned Hulk Hogan. I often describe DragonBallZ as super space animated wrestling, pro wrestling, because that's really what it is. It's like good guy, bad guy, team ups. Power up, and then suddenly it's a battle.
No, you hitting it right on the head. But let me ask you this: you look at professional wrestling, and it translates so well in the media. But when you try to do anime, there's kind of this, why isn't it translated as wrestling? Because, of course, wrestling, one of those people, wrestling's fake. Obviously, it's pretend, but yes, you still get hurt.
Sure.
But Hulk Hogan, The Rock, John Cena, these characters kind of transcend, not just in a wrestling world, It can be on kids shows. It can be in entertainment, and they're like, "Oh, they're so real." Like when you talk and use you for an example, Android 17, he's a badass. He's the MVP. And but you try to do something kind of real, it doesn't really transition that well.
You mean Android 17, the character, or me, the actor?
No, I mean, for an example, I'm trying to say it was, but I'm looking like an asshole.
Don't worry. If I'm on your show, I'm the only one looking like an asshole. That's for sure.
Like, give me an example. John Cena can come out, and it doesn't matter what he does. You can see it. You can feel the presence. Is voice over acting? I don't know if I'm saying it the right way. Yeah, is there like a wall of saying, yes, it's pretend, but you're actually that person?
Yeah, I mean, the when I'm doing Android 17, of course, it's just mostly naturally my voice, but the character, because when Cena or The Rock or Hulk Hogan, they're creating their characters, it's them, it's physically them. But when I'm doing the characters, they have been created by artists. So there's something separate from me that ends up being the character. So it doesn't translate as well to me being Android 17 as much as it would as, that's part of the joy of being a voice actor, is that we're not really recognizable on the street like John Cena or Hulk Hogan or The Rock, because we're behind an animated character. And personally, I enjoy that. I've gotten to feel what it feels like when I went to SoccerCon in Seattle. Basically, the whole convention takes over downtown Seattle, so there wasn't any place pretty much in downtown Seattle where I wasn't getting recognized or noticed, or people just going, "Hey, what's up?" or wanting to shake my hand or take a picture. And I was like, this is what it must feel like to be The Rock or John Cena. Everywhere they go, someone wants to shake their hand or take their picture. But we're behind, the art that the artists have drawn. So we get to have a little bit of anonymity when it comes to our regular lives. I occasionally will get recognized in like a GameStop or a Hot Topic. Hot Topics happened a couple of times. It happened once someplace weird. I was at a restaurant and somebody I was with said, "Oh, you have an anime shirt on," and the waiter was like, "Oh yeah, I love anime," and he showed me his Yu Yu Hakusho socks, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. I'm Hiei." And he went, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Hiei." And he fell down on the ground. He was like, "Oh my god!" and made a big scene. And so I was like, we get to surprise people with who we are sometimes. So that's kind of a fun thing.
Well, next one I want to ask you, I'm going to change it up, and you can ask me anything you want, but I want this to be more hard-hitting. And there are a couple of ones that I will surprise you with. But
please.
A while ago, I don't know if it's true or not, you don't believe everything on the internet. Unfortunately, I fall under that category.
No, the internet tells nothing but the truth, Keith. Everything on the internet is true.
That's true.
Illuminati confirmed. No, I'm kidding.
The reason I bring it up is, how do you feel about being stereotyped as you will always be, after Mr. I can't buzz on her name, you will always be Pilaf and you will always be Android 17?
Oh, I love being Emperor Pilaf, that's for sure.
But does it bother you, or you don't care if you're ever typecast?
No, I'm just when people talk about typecasting, I always say the only thing the actor cares about in that word is the second half of the word, which is cast. So long as we're getting cast, we don't care. Typecast is actually a helpful thing because it means people know where to go to when they want to have that certain flavor of voice in their project, and they're like, you know what, this is a Chuck Huber voice, so that's what we need for this project. We need his voice in this thing. So being typecast isn't a bad thing at all. That just means you're getting work. Chris Bevins, a Funimation director, used to always joke around with me, and he'd be like, what are you bringing in today, Chuck? Trick 1, trick 2, or trick 3? Because he said I had 3 voices, sort of my natural voice, oh, my high crazy voice, and my deep voice. So the idea that we can, and I know I have more range than that, because characters take more than just changing your voice. There's the attitude, there's the objective, the intention, the obstacle. There's all the things that you're wrestling with as an actor to try to create reality. But yeah, I don't mind being typecast at all.
The reason I bring it up, and like I said, I don't know if it's true or not, but I do want to talk to you about it, is Sean Schimmel. I met him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, Sean's super smart. That guy's, whenever he and I are together, he is willing to talk about philosophy, reality, metaphysics. That guy is too smart for anime, in my opinion. I'm about as smart enough for anime. I'm kind of stupid, but Sean's whip smart.
Well, you're smarter than me, and I do have some ideas for you off the air. The reason I bring it up is I saw a comment a while ago where he said he did not want to be Goku anymore because playing the same character for many years, it gets really boring. But I'm like, yes, but look at it like this. There's 2 parts of it. The first part is you're not just Goku. You're King Kai. You're Goku Black. And the second part is look at so many people's lives that you will, and eventually will, impact and have impact. You know, past generation, your generation, my niece's generation. You are the voice of one of the greatest heroes. Period. And you too, you know, one of the greatest anti-heroes. But you know, you look at Peter Collins, Optimus Prime, Mark Hamill, the Joker.
Yep.
I never heard them complain about saying, yeah, even though Mark Hamill played, you know, the Hobgoblin, you still heard a little bit of the Joker. But I don't see what the problem is. If you're making an impact and even an impression on so many people's lives, sick kids around the world, diehard fans, why? Okay, I understand when you, as we mentioned, typecast as one part. You know, for me, people are like, oh, you're the scientist, or you can be the school teacher. That's fine, but as long as I'm leaving a legacy in impressing people, in leaving an impression, that's all that matters. Do you agree or disagree?
I think, you know, number one, whenever Sean said that, I mean, there is the business of voice acting, and he may have been in the middle of negotiations for a contract, and he may have wanted to send a signal to management that, hey, I'm ready to move on, which is the thing you have to do as an actor. You got to claim your worth. You got to claim what you're worth, and you have to be willing to walk away. So number one, context matters. You know, when he said the comment would make a difference. But number two, it like from a realistic perspective, as an artist, you don't want to necessarily do the same thing over and over and over again. You want to it'd be like if you interviewed the same guest over and over again. You'd be like, wow, I really want to interview different guests. So whether or not he continues to play Goku, I think he'll play it until he's too old to play it personally. And I think it'll probably go that long too. But at some point as an artist, you have to figure out a way to fulfill yourself doing something else. Like Sean's an incredibly artistic guy. He came to, he was a professional French horn player. So he's musical. He's creative, he's, you know, intelligent. So he's got all these things going for him. And point of fact, putting all that effort and intelligence and creativity into Goku has served him very well. But you want someplace else to put that creativity and intelligence so that you can explore other places. Like I personally, myself, enjoy doing theater, and I enjoy doing movies, and I enjoy doing television, and I enjoy writing scripts. And I'm writing a children's book. Well, I wrote it. Now my wife is illustrating it. I have a one-man show I'm working on. I got a movie I'm working on. So I solve the repetitiveness of being in the same roles over and over again by giving myself other projects and avenues in which I'm trying to establish, succeed, grow, conquer in different ways, so that I'm not just doing the same thing over and over again.
No, I agree. Now, one thing I do want to say to you is that you have an award from the BTVA Anime Awards that you actually got from 2013 all the way up to 2017. I don't think we talked about that last time.
I got an award. I don't know what award I got.
I'm buzzing it.
BTVA, Behind the Voice Actors?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I don't, what was the award I got?
You said it says I'm buzzing. Okay. You're an American Dub Television Actor Award winner.
I'm an award winner.
Yeah, you're on the IMDb.
Oh, wow. Congratulations to me. My acting has won awards I was part of a theater company in Chicago that won the Joseph Jefferson Award. I was in a movie that won top prize at the festival it was in. I don't think I've ever won any voice acting awards, though, that I know of. But when someone writes a bio and says award winning, you only have to win one award somewhere to say award winning. So that's true. Once again, that's a marketing thing. Here, you know what, Keith? Let me give you an award so you can be an award winning interviewer. How about that? Let me give you the Apple Award. Here we go. The Magic Apple Award for Keith Andrew, ladies and gentlemen, for being an incredible interview. Now, Keith, you're an award winning interviewer.
No, I appreciate that. And everyone I saw that you were a principal. You have been a principal at the Catholic high school.
That's true. I started way back when I only had one child. We wanted our son to go to a private school because we lived in Chicago, and the public schools weren't the greatest environment that we wanted to send our son to. So we looked at this Catholic school in our neighborhood, St. Mary of the Angels in Wicker Park. And we didn't have money to pay for it. So I went and met with the principal. I was like, you have no drama program. I said, how about I teach drama and do your Christmas play, and you let my son go to school here? And she was like, sounds like a deal. And I was like, all right. So we did that for 2 years. And then we moved to Texas, and we found another school, and I was a drama teacher there. And then a third school, and then we had more children, and so I was a drama teacher, and then I was a substitute teacher because the third grade teacher quit right in the middle of the year, and they were like, "We need a long-term substitute. Do you want to do it, Chuck?" And I was like, "I'm poor, and I need a job, so yeah, I'll be your substitute third grade teacher." And that turned into becoming the assistant principal. By the next year, I took the full-time job as a teacher, and then I was the assistant principal the next year. And then my fourth year, the principal quit mid-year, and so I, by default, ended up as the principal. And then the board had a vote and did a search, and they hired me for permanently as the principal. And I did that for like 6 years, as I kept having more and more children, which was great because tuition was free. And I did that. I think I did that for, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years. Toughest job I ever did. Toughest job I ever did. Teaching is hard enough. When you're a principal, people, the parents don't like you, the students get angry at you, the teachers get mad at you. Like, everybody brings you all their problems, and there weren't really a lot of thank yous. But it was a tough job. I would never want to do it again. Knock on wood. Now suddenly I'm going to get a principal job. But I did that all through, like, while I was recording. I think the end of DBZ, or actually Dragon Ball, because we recorded DBZ first and then Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho while I was a principal. So sometimes they would need me, and I would pretend that I had like a meeting at the diocese or something. Oh, the bishop needs to see me, but I was actually recording Yu Yu Hakusho. So I'd take like a nice long lunch plus a meeting and run up to Funimation and get my recording done and then come back. They would also schedule me at like 4:30, and I'd record from like 4:30 to 6:30 because that was the only time I had after school. So yeah, principaling while being Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho was interesting. That was back, and that was back in the days before, certainly before we were as recognized as we are. And it was back in the days before actors were making money going to conventions. So, we all had to have other jobs. Everybody was working a couple of jobs, except the people who were full-time employees at Funimation. So all the actors, as actors do, as we still do nowadays, almost all of us are working more than one gig.
No, I agree with you. For me, I'm not making money, but this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So for me, it's kind of, you would say, freelancing, but I agree. You are working until the day you die, but you have to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that. The more you can enjoy what you're doing, the better off you're going to be mentally and physically and spiritually. Just enjoying the process. I always tell students that you have to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process of auditioning and rehearsing and memorizing lines and acting, especially if you don't enjoy the audition process, if you're like, I don't want to audition, I just want to get the jobs. It's like, well, that's not going to serve you in the long run. What serves you in the long run is really enjoying the process, the searching for and you got to enjoy the whole process. Where do I find the auditions? Which ones are right for me? How do I improve my space? How do I improve my recording technique? How do I improve my engineering? How do I improve my acting, first and foremost? Once you figure out how to enjoy the process of something, that product takes care of itself. The end result is a given because you are loving the process. So if you can love the process, the accolades or the goals or the whatever it is you want to have will come eventually.
I agree with every word you just said. I've been doing this for 9.5 years, and there's a big ass process from how I first started. I don't know if you ever saw season 1. It's god awful.
I'm gonna have to go back and look now.
Pretty much how it was is, I didn't want how you see your reflection on the screen. It's pretty much what you saw. Yeah, okay, wow. It's 2013, and we don't have what we have now. But you see the video quality, you saw the graphics, you seen the guests. Everything got better. If I gave up, I wouldn't have built a friendship with you.
That's true.
Well, I want to ask you a hard-hitting question, but the one thing I am looking at is 1994, you graduated with a BFA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was that your goal? Did you say you wanted to be, and because you are a famous actor, at the time back in 1994, did you have that mindset, or did you have some doubts that it would work out?
No, pretty much from the time I was in 9th grade. By the time I got to 9th grade, I remember the first, we in junior high, we did these drama tournaments, and I guess I was pretty good at them. And you'd do like a monologue, or you'd do a duet scene, or they had like poetry, prose, dramatic interp, humorous interp, and you would compete. And I remember my first tournament in 8th grade, I did terrible. I was horrible. But when I got to 9th grade, I'd figured out the process, and was the first or second tournament in ninth grade, and I ended up coming home. I remember my parents were like, "What?" Because I came home with a box of trophies. I had won like first place in like dramatic interp, first place in humorous interp, second place in duet. And then like I remember my teacher, director, just handing me like a folder and saying, "You're entering prose." And I was like, "What am I doing?" And she gave me a folder and said, "You just have to go in and read this." And so I'd read it beforehand a couple of times, and then I went in and I'd win prose. And then she'd enter me in poetry and give me a poem. And I was like, and I'd read the poem and I'd win poetry. And so I remember the first time I came home with 9 trophies one time. And it was embarrassing a little bit, but I remember my parents' eyes kind of going, what just happened? Because I came home with a box of trophies and they were like, "I guess we should pay attention to this." And then I was determined. The whole high school thing was great. I had a great teacher, and I ended up getting 3rd in the nation at the National Forensic League, and performed in front of a crowd of 4,000 people by myself, which was terrifying. And then got a scholarship. I wanted to go to New York immediately at age 18, and my parents begged / convinced me to go to the Goodman School of Drama in Chicago. And by the time I got to the school was great because it's conservatory acting. You're acting from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. sometimes, or doing crew work. And I just loved every class. I loved every rehearsal. I loved everything I was doing. I loved stage combat. I loved weaponry. I loved yoga. I loved juggling. I loved clown class. Like we had everything, Shakespeare, voice and speech. So all of it was focused on making us a really, really well-rounded classical stage performer. And by the time I got to my 3rd year, I was starting to get a little bored. And I was like, well, I need to do something. And I think it was the end of my 2nd year, actually. I was like, I need to do something. So I went and got some headshots done. And Tom Lasher, the photographer, was like, "Are you any good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm really good." And he's like, "Okay." And he gave my name to this agent, Chuck Norris. And I ended up starting to audition for things in Chicago, the end of my 2nd year, then auditioned all summer, auditioned all through my 3rd year. And after my 3rd year in the conservatory program, I got Awake and Sing at the Steppenwolf Theater, and tried to have the school let me do both so I could finish my degree, my 4th year. And they were like, "No, you can choose one or the other." And so I made this really, really big boy decision to quit college to start working in Chicago theater. And it was great decision. Best decision I probably ever made. And it was really scary and sad because I was suddenly not seeing my friends every day, and I was just sitting at home during the day. And I remember that's when I decided I would learn sign language, ASL, which turned my life in a whole other direction. I started teaching at the Bell School for the Deaf, worked under a grant from Harvard University, teaching drama on the west side of Chicago, met a bunch of great deaf actors, ended up working under a deaf director doing Samuel Beckett's Act Without Words. So I was directed by a deaf director in this showcase performance, and worked at the Goodman a couple of times. I got to play Bolingbroke and Richard II. And then I wasn't getting bored with my career, but your career isn't constant. And I was like, you know what? I need to go back to school and finish my degree now, or I never will. And that 3 years will mean nothing. And so I had taken like a year off working. And I went back to DePaul University and finished not in the acting program, but got my BFA in theater studies, which actually was a lot lighter load. I had to take like theater criticism and a stage lighting class, and a couple of other ones just to finish up my degree. And so, because I had a bunch of credits already. And so that turned out to be another really good decision I made. Both decisions to leave school and then to come back were really me directing the course of my, but I always knew I was going to be successful. I always knew, not that I was kind of driven to be famous. And when that opportunity came, I let it go because it turned out not to be what I thought it was going to be. I was out in LA and then we watched Friends with Matt LeBlanc, and but LA just wasn't my scene, and I came back to Chicago, and then moved to Dallas, and ended up in anime, and it's like I couldn't not be successful.
No, absolutely. And for viewers, I do apologize. You did cut out for like a couple seconds. That's why I was tapping on my thing.
Oh, sorry, I'm a little blind. If I don't have my reading glasses on, you're just kind of a blur. Oh, look, now I can see you. But now I look like a crotchety old man.
Speaking of crotchety, I was pointing at people can't see. I was pointing at the headset when I said my thing. So it is a family show. I was talking about my headset. Keep your mind out of the gutter. But with the last 6 minutes, I do want to talk to you about. Well, I have some great questions for you off the air. But I want to ask you about, do you believe in life after death? And if this is not too personal, I do want to ask you because I've been staring at this on the IMDb for a while. On December 15th, 2010, does that ring a bell for you?
Oh! Yeah, I had a heart attack.
Was that like the moment where you felt like you had to get your life together and
Yeah. No, actually, that was probably one of the best days of my life. And I know that seems weird to say, but I had a marriage that ended shortly after that. That was a struggle for both of us, both my children's mother and myself. We struggled really hard to try to make it work. Probably should have given up on it maybe 10 years earlier, but we were both very stubborn and thought we could make it work. And it just never worked out. But as soon as I had the heart attack, all the stress I had been under was gone. And suddenly I was not allowed to be responsible for anything anymore. And I didn't go see I didn't see a tunnel of light, and I didn't meet God or anything. And as far as life after death, I don't think we ever die. I think we just keep going on. I don't think you'll recognize it. I think you'll transition from life to whatever happens next in a seamless way. And you'll be like, oh, wow, look at this. It's different. I mean, many times during COVID, I was like, all right, I think we've all died. I think this is purgatory. I think the world has shifted to its next dimension. But yeah, that was literally the moment they all came into the room, because this little girl, she was like 20, 22. She was taking my heart readings, and she was like, oh, I'll be right back. And she left the room, and like 14 people came in and were sort of moving me like a rag doll, taking off all my clothes and getting a line in me and putting things under my tongue and pulling off my pants. Like it was, and suddenly I was like, I'm done. I'm done worrying. I'm done worrying about everything I've been worrying about. And I just get to relax. And then relaxing ended up being having to split my chest open and stop my heart and take veins out of my legs and attach them to my heart and sew me back together and wire my chest together with titanium wire. So there was a lot of fun stuff but that moment of release of like, I'm not in charge anymore was such a great feeling.
Well, if you don't mind me for asking, wrapping on the show, God
Sure.
forbid one day when your time is up, do you want to do your life over knowing everything you know now, or do you want to do your life but in a different way?
I wouldn't change a thing. I really wouldn't. I might buy more Bitcoin in 2013. That's the only thing I might do.
I would have saved
Maybe
my
not.
money.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I've been incredibly fulfilled with everything that's happened in my life. If I had to do it over again, if you said, Chuck, you're going to start over again and you know everything that you know now, yeah, I'd totally mess things up. I would do it totally different. Every moment I would be shifting and changing things, and who knows where I'd end up. It would be a trial. I know from experience that type of knowledge doesn't necessarily make things easier, and that you just because you can see what's happening and see what's happening in the future, that doesn't necessarily, number one, mean you can change it, and number two, mean it doesn't mean it's going to be any easier. You still got to do the job of being present and enjoying the people you're around and loving them, and so I would do it again if you forced me to. I'd be happy to do it, but I wouldn't change a thing.
If I have to die, I want my heaven or do my life over, but in a Dragon Ball world. I think
that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
I like that idea. I like that a lot.
But I do have a couple questions for you off the air before our timer kicks us off. What is coming up on the horizon for you? Where are you heading to next?
I have 2 OVAs for Yu Yu Hakusho that are in development, which always means we're about to record them. We were supposed to before COVID, and then it kind of disappeared. So hopefully those are coming up in September. And then I've got classes that I'm teaching in October. And I have a book that I wrote with my wife that she's finishing illustrating, that I'm helping art direct. That'll be coming together here shortly. I've got a movie I'm writing, 2 of them. Another one I'm producing, hopefully a couple that will end up in my directing pile here soon, because one of the best times in my life was directing the couple of times I've gotten to do it. So I'm hoping to be back in the director's chair soon.
No, absolutely. Now stay tuned for Off the Air, but wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege catching up, and I can't wait for part 3. For our viewers, make sure to like and subscribe, and until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.